Hey everyone! Today on the plastic canvas I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to create a rust effect. Hey everyone, Matt here from the Plastic Canvas and welcome to today's painting video. And like I said in the intro, today I'm going to show you a quick and easy way of creating a simple rust effect, just like what you can see here on the axe of the church giant from Bloodborne. But before we actually start creating this effect, we're going to have a look at a few pictures of some rust first, just to make sure that we know what we need to try and achieve to make sure that it looks nice and natural. So I think the main thing to take away from these pictures is that all of these metallic surfaces are inconsistently rusted. You can clearly see in each of them where the rust would have started and that it's then spreading from there. So when we're creating our own rust effect, we can't just cover the entire surface with the same amount of rust. We need to try and make it look as though there is a point where the rust started and that it's then spreading from there. So the first step in creating this rust effect is just to build up some texture so that then when we lay down those different orange tones later on, it does actually look like rust as opposed to just some discoloration. And for that, I'm using Citadel's Typhus Corrosion. So I'm just picking a spot where I want the rust to look as though it has started. I'm putting a good blob of it down there, and then I'm just cleaning off the bristles with a little bit of water and then feathering out the edge so that this texture that we're creating gradually decreases until it just feathers out to the parts of the steel blade that haven't started to rust yet. And so you can see I'm doing it to both sides of that kind of shaft handle part of the axe. And then once that first layer has dried, I then put a second layer of it down. So again, just putting a good thick blob of it where I want the rust to have started, and then cleaning the bristles off so that they're a little bit damp, then just feathering the edge out, just so that that textured look gradually lessens until it blends out nicely to the parts of the steel where I don't want there to be any rust. Now for the next step in creating this rust effect, we're just going to start to tint all of the steel a bit of a rusty sort of colour. So for that I'm using Vallejo's Rust Wash, but you could just easily grab one of your orange paints and just really thin it down to a wash consistency. So really the purpose of this is just to start to tint all of the steel, just that nice orangey browny sort of colour, so that then when we get into the next step, which is to start to use Riser Rust, which is a dry brush from Citadel that's made for a rust effect, we then start to get those different degrees of rust happening. So you've got the texture from the Typhus Corrosion, then that tinting from the wash, but then this real concentrated rust colour from the Riser Rust. And it's this variation that we create with these different tones and textures that's really going to help us create that natural rust look. So I'm pretty much laying down this Riser Rust in the exact same way that I did the Typhus Corrosion. So I'm putting a good thick blob of it down where I want the rust to look as though it started and where I want it to be its most dense and concentrated. And then cleaning off the bristles so that they're slightly damp, and then just feathering out the edge so that it just gradually becomes thinner and thinner until it blends out nicely into where I don't want the rust to have spread to yet. And then I'll just let that dry and then apply a second layer, but with the second layer I just won't feather out the edges quite as far, and this is going to help to really build up that concentrated rust right near that handle shaft part in the middle, which is, like I've said, where I want it to look as though the rust has started and is then spreading from there. And that's it. That's all there is to creating a simple but really effective rust effect. But like we saw earlier with those pictures, the key to getting that convincing natural look is to make sure that you don't just cover the whole surface with the same color and layer of rust. We need to make it look as though there's a point where the rust has started and then it's spreading from there. And we created that by building up that texture first and then those different orange tones. And then just to finish the video off, here's a couple of shots of some other minis that I've put some rust on following the exact same process as what you saw here. So thank you very much for checking out another one of my videos. I really hope you enjoyed it and found something that you can take away and use in your own painting. If you did, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. But that'll do us for today, so until next time, this is Matt from the Plastic Canvas signing out. Happy painting everyone. Cheers.